Yes. Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer. Welcome to the David Saylors podcast. Listen at me. It's not a podcast at all. This is a live stream that will become a video once it's done with the stream on my YouTube channel. So, I have confirmed that the stream is running. This live stream is, where is my chat window? Oh, come on. It always gives me the chat window. Where is my chat window? Come on, chat window. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. There's the sun. Let me put it down here so I don't have to raise my head up and do like this the whole time and crane my neck. TL, howdy, Dave, all the way from Alberta, Canada. Canada's being represented. Let's see here. Can y'all even see? Yeah, y'all can see this huge military-looking case. I turned around to get my logbook from earlier today. What I done was I went and did a Parks on the Air activation, and I don't have any of the images on the computer from my phone. Maybe I can fix that while we stream, and I'll share them with you. I have built a system for an antenna, and give you just a touch of backstory. Maybe I can do that. Parks on the Air is a amateur radio activity where you take a portable radio of some sort, such as this Tech Argonaut here. It's just barely in frame. This little guy. If I scoot it over some, you can see. There it is. And I've got a little watt meter on top of it just so I can confirm power is leaving the radio. It's kind of all that's doing. It works most of the time. But anyway, you take these smaller portable radios out and you go to a state park on the list. And there's a huge list. There's a lot of them. It's not hard to find a park. And you set your radio up within the park boundaries and you do what they call an activation, which means you try to attempt 10 contacts from that park in a single 24-hour universal time coordinate day, 0 Zulu to 2359 Zulu. And if you get 10 contacts, then you have completed a technical activation. Well, I am into that. So, oh, you like the Liberty shirt? Thanks, Grant. It's a work shirt. We print these for the shop guys. There's probably 3 or 4 of these that are in private hands that are not or have not been employees of Liberty Suppressors. We don't distribute this shirt. They normally get holes burned in them right here from running a grinder or, like welding splatter or machine shop cuttings, chew them up, because they're cotton. We always make sure we get cotton because it doesn't melt like polyester does. Rabbit hole. Anyway, I went today and did a park activation because I've been building me an antenna. And let me see, you can't really tell it in that picture. Here's what we'll do. I'll go ahead and get these sent over, and I'll circle back to this in a minute when I share these with you. Let's see, it should email them. It's pathetic. I have an iPhone and a Windows computer, so they don't cohabitate. See, let me just give it a name. Let's just send a medium file. It don't have to be big. I could probably send the small ones. Yeah, this one has a pretty good picture of what's going on. Now that was quick. Now it's in the computer. Send this one. Email. But the point of the stream was mainly to talk about the Nikon Z9 firmware updates that have recently came out. And these firmware updates basically give you a new camera. The firmware 3.0. Let me just show you here. Move this up to there. Sweet. It's on the wrong TV. I've got it on the upper monitor like a genius. Alright, let's fix it. You fix it by reversing them. Now, I've lost my chat window. Pull it down here. There we go. Now, and now the audio's back, isn't it? Interesting. What have I done? Let me see. Yeah, I see what's happened. I have done something with the audio control, and there. Now you have audio again. I don't know what I done. I'm fixing it. Let's see. I gotta do this too. There's that. Now, okay, now you have audio on both sources. Sorry about that, but what you're seeing here is trickle down effect. That's really the reason I wanted to do this. Sorry about. I am still learning OBS, so I appreciate you guys helping me here. Bass Angler made it. Woo! Greg Cassidy's in the house. Good Lord, everybody's out. Sound is out. Sound is back. Yeah. Woo. But what I was amazed by is all of the stuff they keep putting into the Z9. That will work its way down to the other cameras with time. Here, let me turn this off for now. It's noisy. And that speaks volumes for Nikon. This is not something to take lightly. When you see all of this information about the displays and, added 3D tracking focus point color and all of that, that'll start showing up in the Z6 III and the Z60 or Z80 or whatever. You'll start seeing these things in those cameras. So just because it's coming for the Z9 right now doesn't mean you'll not have access to this wonderful cutting edge functionality. This is really, really powerful stuff. It was just the more, look, I'm still scrolling. All kinds of stuff. Added a full format option under format memory card in the setup menu for the use of compatible CF Express memory cards. Apparently that was something people wanted. I figured that was all you did every time. Apparently it was doing quick formats only. And, added a Type A auto restore delay option for the custom setting D14. Added a center weighted area to the items available for customized shooting. A lot of this is customer feedback. People write to them and tell them, hey, it'd really be nice if it did this, or it'd really, really, really be nice if you could do this with it. Let's see. Hey, he's messing with us. He's just moving his lips. Let's Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we're all back. Okay. I had to do that since I read the chat. Let me stretch the chat window up a little bit and make it a little tinier, narrower so I can see. All right. But the list is just in, I mean, look. This is all in one firmware update. Yeah. And then here's the press release about it, but, you know, it says the camera would in rare circumstances fail to record 8K video correctly. You know, it's funny. They fixed it. Whatever was causing it, they fixed it. I love how it says shooting information would in rare circumstances disappear from the viewfinder. Fix the following issues. So these were all known issues, and they did do the firmware corrections to fix them. There's a lot of stuff here. Shutter speeds of 1/320th to 1/640th of a second would produce uneven exposure across the frame in pictures taking with the SB800 flash units using auto FP high-speed sync. Wow. And they figured that out and fixed it. It's just crazy what all this stuff is. But yeah, just if you get an opportunity, drop over to Nikon Rumors. They've got a big write-up about it, and you can see plenty on it. And, oh, okay. We'll have that to do that much quieter now. But this is really valuable if you're in the Nikon ethos, because you can read these updates and expect the primary ones to make their way to the smaller cameras, even possibly to existing models and firmware updates, because a lot of this is very valuable stuff. What's the guys? I can't remember the name of the channel when I need to. Everybody knows them. It's the two guys in Canada that review cameras. Y'all will tell me in the chat in a second. They talked about how it was basically you're getting a new camera that has so much going on with it. Another thing, more firmware updates from Nikon. This time for the D850. Okay, and the Z5. They're still firmware updating the D850. That's how popular that camera is. I said all that for it to just simply be a correction with the horizon. Let me stop scrolling a little bit so you can see it. Fix an issue in rare circumstances. Once again, we're back to those rare circumstances, resulting in the virtual horizon failing to function after a firmware was upgraded to version 1.2. If this was really a rare circumstance, they wouldn't have spent resources to firmware patch it. I guarantee you it was happening more than rare circumstances for them to put a software engineer on it and have him figure that out and fix it. The Z5 had an issue fixed where the vibration reduction didn't work after the firmware was upgraded. Excuse me. But yeah, this was interesting to me. Like button reminder. Charles Davis said, yeah. Right down there is a like and a subscribe and a thumb and a little notification bell. Click all that. Just run across it with the mouse. Have some fun down there. Don't click them twice. If you click them twice, then you have to click them again, because triple clicking is more powerful than single clicking. Just remember that. Always triple click if you are ever wondering how many times to click. 3 is the magic number. Chris and Jordan, DP Review. I knew you guys would remember. Thanks. Till says, I've been trying to get my hands on a Z9 and they're as rare as unicorns. Ray Soldano, who drops in on the chat, periodically will watch my streams. He's got one. It is nice. It's completely silent. You know when you turn on electronic shutter and you put the camera in quiet mode or whatever, how it makes no sound? That's normal for the Z9. That's how it sounds all the time. It has some shutter functionality you can turn on. Whew. All I can figure is I'm not breathing enough. Excuse me. But he will take street photography with it and nobody knows it. It literally is just absolutely silent. I turned on my electronic shutter and messed with it, and it's kind of disorienting for a person coming from a shutter built camera to run a camera without a mechanical shutter actuating is kind of weird. It just is. Bass Angler says, I can't wait for the Z90, the D500 replacement. They kept poking that sleeping bear. Now it's awake and ready to kill. Talking about Nikon. They're back with a vengeance. Scriptwick says, Dave, I just dropped in. I'm back from Yosemite. So, how did the pictures turn out? I got to know. He went and did a photo journey into Yosemite and took some landscape photography. Sunday, I think I did a stream, and he was heading into Yosemite that day. All right, let me go back to the master cam. Let's see if I got them pictures. Well, no. Told me it was. Oh, here they are. Okay. Let's download them. Yeah. Of course, it's got to do something silly. Let's see here. Truck 1. There we go. Back to the thing. Download this one. Truck 2. There. Now, let's see here. Minimize that. Get to where the download page is. I think I'm on it. Yeah. Okay. Now. Nope. That didn't work at all. All right. Let me switch over and go ahead and talk about this a second. I'm going to jump back on the amateur radio tangent. Hey, there's Ray. Ray says it takes about 2 weeks to get used to the shutter sound not being there. Wow. That's a long time in reality. Okay. Let me see if I can. I don't guess I can. But you can see in this image how I've built this yellow stand to go in the receiver on my truck. And then I've made me a tiny little plate. I've got a picture close up, but it's just a little piece of flat bar. And you buy this little mount that's like got a screw stud on it. And it's meant for like the CBers and the truckers. And you drill like a 3/8 hole in a mirror bracket and just bolt it on. It's one of them. And then this black antenna you see is the loading coil. And then there's a stinger. Is what they call it. The stainless steel whip starts right here where the mouse is and goes up literally to about here out of frame. It's about as long as the load coil is, that much higher. And then you have these 2 radials that run off each side that are like 16 feet 4 inches on each one. And then I've got little tiny coax running through the truck bed and going over the corner into the cab. And I'll send the truck or the picture from inside the truck over. I thought I had sent it, but I sent the wrong one. Yeah, this is the one. The other day, the antenna wasn't tuned, so I had to help it. I had to actually run it with a tuner. All right, we'll get that going. Oh, there. It just needs a subject. Come on, send the picture. There we go. But yeah, I built this device, this base for the antenna, and then made up the radials. And then yesterday tuned the antenna to the 20-meter band, so I don't need an antenna tuner. Did it make it? I don't know. But like, here's another picture that's closer up. Yeah, you can see. This is just standard 1-inch square tube steel. This is a piece of 2-inch tube steel, and then I've TIG welded it together and welded a little gusset on it so it don't break off the piece there. Then this is a piece of stainless flat bar. And I did that so none of this will rust. I've got a stainless bolt with a little wing nut knob you buy at the hardware store on it, so it's easy to unscrew to take the radials on and off. Then, of course, I've got my quick connect stuff on the bottom for my antenna. And then the antenna itself just screws into the top. So I just unscrew the top section out of that and break it down into about 40-inch parts. And there's a little packet slips in. It's about as long as this is tall. So it's all about that height when it's dismantled. It sets up in about 5 minutes, breaks down in about 5 minutes. And the beauty of this is I get to sit in the warm truck in the wintertime, and I don't have to sit there and shiver at a picnic table in the park. All right, let's see. Don't know what is here. Oh, nothing. It's just the desktop. Go back. Here we go. There's what the inside of the truck looked like the day I was working it. This is my Morse code key I just bought. This is the radio I had plugged into it. And like I said the other day, the antenna wasn't tuned, so I had this tuner hooked up. This cable is, I was just using the coax from this cable, and I just didn't want to dismantle it, so I just left the other two wires unused. I just needed the coax to connect up. Just barely in frame is the battery that was powering it, and I'm running these little Sony Walkman like headphones. That's because this doesn't have a speaker. But this little radio works really, really well. It's shocking how good this little tiny radio works. But yeah, I just had it all rigged up testing the system. And so that's what I was doing yesterday and today for a couple of hours each day. And it seems to be working really well. Oh, it's neat. All the stuff you can see back there. But whatever. All right. Full or half wave? Well, it's supposed to be a half wave vertical. But since it's a ham stick, the bottom half is a load coil that makes it electrically appear to be 10 meters tall, but it's compressed into a 1 meter long thing. So but that's how that works. But they have the radials are half wave. They're 16 feet, which is 5 meters each. So you get a ground plane that is a half wave, and it works shockingly well. Like I was into Canada and California, and that radio transmits with 5 watts. It's really awesome. Back to camera stuff. Let me see here. Let me close this. Figure out where I'm at. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I can do this too. I forgot I have access to my desk. Well, the computer suddenly has to think. I think I just crashed. What's happening here? All right, my camera's frozen. Oh, there it goes. It just turned loose. Whatever just happened, it's undone itself, and it's back in business. All right. What's going on? You sold both your D850 and your D500? Wow. All right. Is my audio synced with my video? Because it don't look like it. You guys can tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did that look right? It don't look right to me for some reason. I've been working on this. I thought I had it sorted out, but now it doesn't look like it's working. It is? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. Whew. What have I done here? Oh, I see now. Okay. All right. Okay, the other day we all met up downtown, and the best I could do for my photo walk was about 3 or 4 images. So what I done was, before I'd met up with them earlier that day, I had done a photo walk during the daylight hours, and I had grabbed a few photos. So I'm gonna share that with you. But this alleyway, I normally don't see it with the sun like this. This turned out time to do CW. LOL. Yeah. We'll do that in a minute. I'll show you. I'll send somebody's name in Morse code. How about that? Y'all probably can't hear it since it ain't close enough to the microphone. Maybe you can. But I have been trying to come up with a photo of this alley for 3 or 4 years, because it's a cool composition. It's a long, straight alley, and I've been trying to get something with somebody in it passing through it, and I've took probably 24 photos, and none of them look good. And then the other day I walked by it, and the sun was beaming in like you see here, and I could see people going into the coffee shop. You can't tell. I guess I can come over here. There's a door to the coffee shop. I think this is it right here. It goes into a I don't remember the name of that coffee shop now. Stone Cup Brewery or something like that. And I think that's where this person was headed. But I just fired 3 or 4 frames and got them perfectly framed in that light with their shadow. And I thought, man, that's awesome. And then I got this one with Ray. Ray was literally to my right, taking a much better exposed version of the same photo. I don't know what I had set differently, or if he bracketed, or if he just brought up the shadows a lot, but mine came out a lot darker than his. I was after mainly light stars and motion blur from the people. This guy right here is actually messing with this bonfire pit he was working on, and he's being so still that my 8 or 10 second exposure didn't mess him up. It was pretty cool. Let's see here. This was one of my favorites from the sidewalk session. I've done so many long exposures. You can see these pylons are frozen nice and clean. The sidewalk's nice and sharp. And these 2 people walking through frame are ghosts. You know, it just worked out really well to catch them 2 passing through like I did, because this is a several second exposure as well. You did 30 seconds. Wow. Oh, you stopped all the way down to F22 as well. Man, I don't think I went to but F16. Donald Jones from California. Thank you for dropping into the stream. Awesome. Yeah, Bass Angler, he bought a Z9. He's been wearing it out with the sports photography with it. Ray, do you know what your shutter count's up to? I'm curious to know. What's your shutter count up to? I found this in the sun, and it worked out pretty cool because I got 3 prime color images from that day that kind of worked together as a pseudo triptych, as they say. This one here, the overbearing tone of this image is blue. You have the blue truck, the blue table, the blue base on the building, and then the blue sky. And the reds and yellows and greens are minimal. So this image is overall, its overarching theme is blue. And then you have this one's overarching theme is, can y'all guess? Red. Not red. Green. I just saw this tarp blowing away from this fence, and it just seemed cool, so I had to get a picture of it. But then I realized you got the green trees, the green tarp, the green grass. So this one's overall theme is green. And then I have the red wall with a vintage door to nowhere that they really don't want you going through this door. You know, you just look at it. It's like, man, it's barred with a security door behind a non-glass windowed wooden solid door, and there is no steps to this door. It's literally 3 or 4 feet off the grade to the bottom of the door frame, and there's no stairs. This is an alley over on Fraser Avenue that goes down to Coolidge Park, and they do this graffiti stuff on the walls. A lot of times they'll put sidewalk chalk in the alley so you can draw and stuff. They paint it off periodically to reset it. That's why the wall's all one solid prime color. But I thought, man, that just worked out really cool. I got all 3 of those prime colors just kind of walking around looking without really thinking about doing that. And then there was an art fair a week or 2 back, and this guitar was sitting out front, and she had a sign, and I think it's right behind this person with the white shirt, that said, please take pictures. And it was like a 10-step thing for her booth. It's like, please take pictures. You can handle the art. Buy something. Ask questions. Buy something. Come in and browse around. Buy something. It was like, there's a lot of subliminal messaging in that little note. But I thought the guitar's cool. There's a lot going on in this thing. I say, you can see, don't fret. Pick me. It goes all the way around the sound hole. It's just pretty cool. So I figured I'd share that. Then Sierra and Teresa and some rando wandering around a food festival. And then Ray saw this, and I just had to get a picture of it. You remember this, don't you, Ray? David, what lens were you using? Okay. 50mm Summicron L on the Leica SL2. All these are shot with that lens. Well, some of the low light photos were shot with the 20mm Nikon. If I go back, this one and this one were shot with the 20mm f2.8 AFD Nikon. I still use that lens a good bit for like landscape and stuff. But these were shot with the 50mm Summicron. This is a Bell art feature the kids play with in the park. I just thought the light was cool. But this is where the ice cream comes from. This is the other side of the process. You have, I thought these two go together. This is the wasted ice cream. And this is the waste from making the ice cream. Because you see the box in the truck where he's had to throw it away that held the ice cream cones. And, you know, it just kind of shows you that there's 2 sides to this story. I thought, yeah, them two kind of go together. And I deliberately shot him when he had his back to me because I wanted him to be kind of anonymous or mysterious. He turned around. I got a couple of photos with him facing me as he raked all that stuff off in that little truck. Charles Davis, learn your colors with David. He'll teach you wrong as a joke. Charles Davis, Z9 doesn't have a shutter. No, but it has this weird thing that looks like one. Some kind of sensor cover. Looks shockingly like a shutter. Bass Angler says, I do Raptors in flight most of the time. Is the Z9 up to that task as good as the D500? Ooh. Hey Ray, you still in the chat? And can you answer Bass Angler's question? Because that's a good one, and it probably can. That camera will take shockingly good photos. Yeah. It blew my mind. Oh, I see. The whole time I've had my little picture of me, floating around in the chat window. I didn't know that. Here, I can get it out of the way so you guys can see just the picture. Sorry about that. I had no idea. I just happened to glance down and see it. Am I out? Yeah, that's the end of the roll. Did I show them all to you? Yep, that was all of them. I just wanted to share that with you. Let me pull this back in here and put it back where it goes, in the corner. There we go. Now, but yeah, if you haven't done it yet, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. It's right down there in the corner. Literally just right down here. You just got to click with the mouse. It's super easy. Barely an inconvenience, as that guy that does the pitch meeting video says. Ray says, it is in a different league. That's a good way to describe it. Thank you, Charles. I really appreciate that. I see I have the video or the color palette pushed a little bit blue because this shirt is black. And on my screen, it looks blue. What if I pull this up here? It's just, it looks like saturation on this particular monitor is a little wonky. That's good to know because that means all my colors are going to be out of whack when I edit on it. Let's see. As you can tell, this is a monitor. There is another monitor right there just out of camera shot so I can actually see what I'm doing and what's on the internet display screen is what I've called that button. The D500 is an amazing camera, but the Z9 is like someone took a D6 and a D850 and smushed them together and gave it all the steroids, not on steroids, all the steroids. Woo! Navy blue here. So it is the OBS software. It's probably where I was tinkering with the camera. I go to this and then, what is it? There's a way of, I was messing around with it the other day. Yeah, here we go. I don't even know if y'all can see this. No, this ain't what I was after at all. I'll close that before I break the stream. Oh, it's under this, wasn't it? Yeah. What if I do that? Did that fix any of it? I don't think it did. Looks like I have the saturation up too high or something. Because this is a black shirt. It's not black in that picture. That's something else to fix after I'm done with the stream. Little steps, baby steps. I'm getting there. Since everyone is mad with Nikon, it's nice to come here and get some good vibes from David. This stream is brought to you by, as our friends across the pond would say, by Nikon. I have to laugh at that because for me, the way that word structure is, that is Nikon. Big as it gets. Looks better now. I just turned off it was a color filter thing. But yeah. I think the 3D focus tracking for that is a killer tool. You get the square and it just tracks through the whole frame pretty much flawlessly. Yeah, he showed that to me the other day. It was amazing how well. I mean, it wasn't like he could move the camera and it would stay up. He could move the camera and it didn't lose focus lock. It stayed on the subject. It was incredible how well it worked. How did you say it, Ray? It's almost like cheating. Wasn't that the words you used? You've already taken 70,000 photos with it. Wow. I owned my D810 for I think it was about 5 or 6 years, and it was only up to 40,000 maybe. He's had this thing this year, inside of this calendar year, and he's already at 70,000 photos. Wow, that's crazy numbers. But yeah, the world of photography is super interesting to me, just to see what different people will come up with, or different companies is really what I'm trying to say. You know, you have two extremes of the same coin, basically. On the one hand, you have Nikon making this super hot rod camera and then throwing all the support. They're making it rain with updates, as they say. And then you have, on the other hand, Leica making an M6 from 1984. And there's already a 1-year waiting list. it's like the whole community is on fire with wanting more equipment. People love equipment. There's just something about gear, this stuff like lenses that people just like for some reason, and they're willing to pay for it. It just blows my mind. It is cheating. That's Ray's response. It is cheating. It's the right tool for the job is what it is. Grant said he rented a Z7 II for a week and loved it. It's a nice machine. First time I saw a Z7 was when I saw Cuban Rum in Miami. He had one, and it took incredible images. Just incredible. That's across 40-ish events since July 14th. He's only had it since the middle of July. Yeah, sports photography. Yeah. Shoot, there's days when I see Ray talk about how he's going to shoot like volleyball, and then later that day tennis, and then maybe later that day something else. It's like he goes from one event to the next. Softball, and he's been into the softball and baseball a lot here lately. I've been seeing a lot of them images. And soccer's coming on. But yeah, it's just incredible. Let's see here. I was going to do this earlier. That ain't my call sign. That's an H at the end. That was my call sign. Where's all the hams? Oh, there's one. He's laughing. He just sent hi. Not sure. I stepped into the middle of that conversation. The words didn't really make sense to me. Let's see. Ray, do you shoot for a magazine or newspaper? He shoots for the college, and he shoots for the Chattanooga Football Club. I know that. He's like one of their designated photographers because he gets to get down on the field and take pictures. You're making me look bad, Dave. I'm pretty much addicted to sports photography, he says, and scammed my way into a photo pass for the university I work at. Don't let him fool you. Ray takes some on-point sports photography. He is a straight-up bona fide sports photographer. He is good at it. I'm also the club photographer of the local soccer team. Yeah, the Chattanooga Football Club allows him or has him taking their pictures. I get to stay up in the stands with my crappy camera and take pictures. He gets to get down on the field. Hassan says, I did a wedding once, shot almost 1,000 photos over 8 hours, and decided weddings are not for me. I have been asked to shoot weddings, and I step away from it pretty much. Well, I have every time. I've never even so much as second shot for a wedding, so I don't, to be a second shooter would be the smart way to do that. And I've never even done so much as that. I've done some senior portrait shoots for friends of Sierra's, but like I didn't even charge for them. I just gave them the pictures. It's like you're getting what you paid for. If if there ain't no pictures in here you like, you ain't lost nothing. And you can go hire somebody that does this for a living. Grant's talking to Ray. Got one of my favorite sports shots with the 180 that David reviewed and a D800. That beat to death 180 millimeter. Man, that thing. Now, it does take incredible photos, but to see that lens in person, it looks rough on the exterior. That lens has been used by like a photojournalist or something because it has significant exterior finish wear. Wow. Donald Jones says, weddings, yuck. Donald Jones says, third-party lenses are dragging their feet on Nikon. Yeah, but not as bad as Canon. Apparently, Canon is sitting on the like the interconnect firmware information so that you can like make autofocus lenses for RF mount. Because I was watching somebody's video the other day and they were, it was Martin Castine's. I think he was saying that Canon is sitting on that information and not sharing it with third-party manufacturers, and it's causing a lot of problems because you can only put manual focus glass or Canon RF glass on your Canon RF camera, and that's frustrating for RF users because there's Tamron and Sigma make wonderful lenses now, and you can't, and so does Zeiss and Voigtlander and all these, and you have to adapt them. But they said that they're native making them for the Nikon Z mount now. Several of them are. Man, you guys are killing it in the chat tonight. All right. What's the timestamp so far? Does anybody know how long we've been running? I don't have where's my clock? I got one somewhere, surely, that tells me how long this chat's been up. Oh, there it is. So it's right there. Oh, stupid chat window. No, I don't want it up at the top. What have I done? No! Now I got this big, giant, super wide chat window. Let me squish it back up and put it over here. It keeps wanting to dock it at the top. All right. There's my time runner. 47 minutes. 47 minutes in. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, see more content. I have a huge library of videos, mostly lens reviews for some reason. But a lot of street photography too. If you like me just sitting here talking to the camera, there's quite a few live streams to look at. Yeah. Scriptwick says, whenever I shoot weddings or baby showers, I tell you, you get what you get. 47 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, there's a counter. It's dropped down at the very bottom of OBS here. I just didn't see it. So far, so good. We haven't lost our stream to dropped frames. I am literally, right now, I am at 0 dropped frames so far. The other night, it was dropping 20 per second out of 30. So, yeah. C2C Disciple, just logged on. Like, subscribe, notification bell. I've been making YouTube videos since 2017 for this channel. And I finally, literally about 3-4 months ago, figured out how to add that little animated graphic that has the little mouse clicker, comes over and clicks the subscribe button that you put in the video. It took me all them years to figure out how to add that. I finally did it. Starting sometime in July, they started appearing. And I still forgot to do it in a couple of videos because I haven't done it in near a minute, just the last 8 or 10, Grant Govro. I see what you're doing, Grant. Bass Angler says 12 people in the chat, and I'm the only like. Smash that like button, LOL. There was something else. Let me see. Let me find it. No, not that. Oh, that's the stream. Okay. That's interesting. That's what it looks like on YouTube. Yeah, I see. The color is better. Okay. Interesting. That's not what I want. I want this. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to spotlight a channel. Where is it at? Let me see. History. There we go. Because I seen a video. Let me find it. I unfortunately make this grave mistake, and what that mistake is I'll lay down in the bed and I'll watch a video, and then I fall asleep, and my phone continues to play videos until I wake up and realize it. Sometimes that's hours later, so it'll stack all of these videos that I didn't pick because they're just played next in my queue. So here I am with about 40 bajillion pictures. So there's a Learn Photography with Ivanto Toots. And I apparently watched a significant portion of this masterclass and didn't even know it. Oh, here it is. Let me bring him up. Yeah, I found it. Okay. Let me switch you back over. All right. This guy is, I really don't have anywhere for this chat window. It's kind of confusing. There we go. Now I've got it kind of out of the way. Is that good? I'm out of the way there. Okay. But this is this particular video is about a photo walk with a guy named Ruben Ratting, and the channel is Paulie B, and he's a young kid, and he's in New York, and he shoots film cameras. Most days he shoots a Leica. I don't remember if it's an M4 or an M5 or an M6. He's got an M4 and M6. I don't remember which, but he shoots a Leica M camera a lot. But sometimes he'll have a different one. But he always shoots film. He literally had a video the other day that came out with him with what's the super famous Joe Greer from Nashville. He actually did one of these videos with Joe Greer. It was pretty cool. Get rid of that. But you can kind of see over here on the side some of the stuff I like to watch. Look, late night David Saylors live stream. I watched my own live stream. Oh no, this is the one that's going right now. The Mood and Mystery. That's a pretty cool video. I done seen it. But yeah, this is a really good channel. This cat does pretty cool videos, and these walkie-talkies are really cool because he basically does like a street walk interview with this other person while he's doing the video. It's really cool. Did you learn a lot? Not while I was asleep. Grant says I suffer from that also. The majority of YouTubers are in love with the idea of a new Nikon camera, but I couldn't be more against the idea. I think fast glass, especially the 85 f1.2 and the 35 1.2, is desperately needed. Yeah, there is holes in the lens lineup. Me and my stream from Sunday pointed out there's 10 to 20 DX lens that I'm filming on right now. It's let me get back down here and put it back. That lens is not available for Z mount at all. I mean, it's not even on the road map. They don't have a 10 millimeter anything in the Z system. So your only choice is FTZ and F mount, and that's it. That's all you can do. So yeah, don't get rid of all your F mount glass. Not until you know for sure there's a Z mount replaceable alternative that you can lay hands on. You know, I see people boxing up all their F mount gear and sending it to B&H or sending it to Use Photo Pro or somebody like that to get, to sell it so they can buy all Z stuff. Don't make that mistake. Maybe the camera, and like I said, that there's sunglass and it's available, then go ahead. But yeah, like the 10 to 20. This would make a great landscape camera because it's small. Oh, excuse me again. Maybe I should go to bed. I don't know what all this yawning's about. But, you know, it's a small compact camera and it's very wide. It's like 15 millimeter equivalent for full frame. So, you know, at 10 millimeter, you can do really beautiful landscape photos with this camera. Phil was doing landscape photos just the other day with that little R7. And I think I don't know how many megapixels it is. I think it's 30 or so. But it's crop sensor, but it takes beautiful photos. Crop sensor is not a derogatory term anymore. You know, it was 15, 20 years ago. The crop sensors were, you know, they weren't as good as the big sensors because you didn't have as big of a photo sight and the light just didn't perform as well. But nowadays, DX sensors, FX sensors, they're just sensors. It's just one has more little eyes than the other, and they take beautiful photos. Suffer from that also. I thought I was the only one that fell asleep at the wheel. I've done that too a few times. It never ended well. Any time I did it. Saw that video yesterday. Pretty cool guy. Yeah. And let me see if I can find. Yeah, here we go. Let me bring you back over to the interwebs. Let me drag me out of frame for a second. This is Martin Castine. He's been a viewer of my channel for a number of years. And he commented on one of my videos 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. This down here, this is him talking to the camera in this black frame with just his face in it. He does these videos where he discusses different things, and his thumbnails are starting to take on a style so that you know it's one of his videos. But he does quite a few of these talking to the camera videos, and he's very intuitive. He's a master photographer. He's very good. Like, he takes wonderful photos. He does a lot of model photography, and like he's a pro. So like he's shot like album covers for like record albums. Like, he's done those. He's done all sorts of commercial work. He knows what he's doing, and he shoots Canon primarily. That's his weapon of choice is Canon, and he talks about like this DSLR versus mirrorless. That was good. This Canon, where are you going with this? That's a really good video because he talks about some problems. And I'm back. But he talks about some problems with the Canon lens offerings and how it's got some holes in it that for him as a professional, he feels like needs to be filled in. And he doesn't want to use EF mount glass on his R cameras. He wants to use native lenses because just seems like the smart thing for a working professional is to use native glass on your camera. And I think he was the one that was talking about how Canon won't release the firmware tech to the lens to third-party manufacturers, so you'll buy RF mount glass from Canon. And you know, he says it makes you think, do I want to move to Nikon? You know, and he's all in on Canon. That's his weapon of choice. Like I said, if you look, 5D Mark II. I mean, this is just in the videos that are on the screen. I'm out again. You can see 5D Mark II, Canon RP, 5D Classic, 40D. You know, these are Canon cameras in this thumbnail. There's a 5D Classic for landscape. Yeah. He also is a person who will tell you that the gear doesn't matter. It doesn't really change anything. And I'm back. We'll go back to this. Martin Castine's a cool person though, and he has grown his channel past mine, and I don't know how long he's had his channel, but uh, he went by me pretty quickly. Everyone has their faults, as Ray's. Is Charles going? Gotta go. We'll try to watch the rest tomorrow. Good night, Charles. Thank you for coming in. Saw walkie talkie and was like, is David talking a radio tonight? Like this one? I have several radio of these handheld radios, but this one, I wear this one in the machine shop a lot. I like them old 80s models. They call them bricks. They're just cool to me because I'm from the 80s. And I use a 14 millimeter Samyang for wide angle landscapes, Milky Way photos. I have never used a Samyang lens. I really need to get my hands on one just to see how good they look. Donald Jones says, I like the Nikon Z7 too, and he says, I hear that not all the old Nikon glass does not work. I'm unpacking that. I think what you're talking about is like Nikon's F mount had two different autofocus systems, actually three, but we'll just call it two for the sake of discussion. They had a mechanical focus system and an electrical focus system. The first one was the mechanical, and it was a screw drive focus with the focus motor in the body of the camera driving a little worm screw in the lens. I have several of those screw drive focus lenses, and they work really well. Then Canon or Nikon figured out that it was apparently cheaper and more efficient to put electric motors in the lens and then just drive them with the camera's electronics. And that became the electrical focus lenses, like my 500 phase Fresnel is. Those, that's their second gen. Well, those are the ones that typically can be autofocus. Like this little 10 to 20 millimeter DX lens is a what would be an AFS. It's an autofocus electronic motor lens, and it autofocuses on the Z50. But my 105 f2 DC is mechanical, and it won't. I have to manual focus it. I think that's what you're talking about. Bass Angler says 80s ruled, especially the music. Albert says, I'll never get rid of my Nikon F lenses because the micro contrast is just too good, and someone will eventually develop a screw drive lens adapter. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I knew I brought this in here. I got a huge smudge on my glasses. I spent my afternoon arc welding a dump truck axle back together to get them by temporarily till they can locate a actual factory replacement for a, like I think you said, a 1966 Mack dump truck. If you happen to have one of them and you don't need the axle, I know a person looking for one. And it's off the tandem. It's the big axles out of the back. They're like 2-inch thick solid alloy steel axles. And they twisted one in two. It looked like it had stress cracks. It had stress fractured at the differential and broke the spline section off, which makes me believe that there's other cracks in it in other places, and it will fail soon. I told him, I was like, I can do this, and it'll probably work a little while, but you probably need to get you a new axle. I told him I can make him one from scratch. I can replicate the splines easily enough, but yeah, I got smudges all over my glasses from running that welding hood all day. There's several hours of arc welding. I can't see good. Let's see what that. Oh wow, there's a camera. Are you guys looking at me? Oh crap! There, I set that out of camera frame so y'all can't see it. This monitor hides it. I had to add this aluminum bracket to my Nikon or my listen at me, my Nikon boom. My microphone boom to get the microphone height correct. And I thought, hey, why not just add my website in Sharpie to the back of that aluminum plate? So if you want to go to my website, it's www.davidsaylors.com. That's www. So yeah, that my professional printing services. Van Halen. Yeah, I was a big hair band guy back in the 80s. I liked Rat and Cinderella. Cinderella, for some reason, was one of my favorite bands. But then I found grunge in the 90s and I moved on. I got broken fingernails. I think the heat from the arc welder cracked them all. They got little chunks broke out of them everywhere. Grant Govro says, I would love it if Nikon made a super tiny full frame camera, like a throwaway film camera size. These guys have went down the Van Halen path. You will be in Huntsville on the weekend of December 9th. Let's meet. Email me, George. Okay? Email me, and I will put it on my calendar. I'm pretty sure I can make that happen. I'm looking. What? Close that. That's a Friday, and from the looks of things, I'm currently not doing anything. So yeah, shoot me an email. At GeorgiaPhotog at gmail.com email. Send it to me. Pearl Jam for the win. Pearl Jam was cool, but for me, it was more of a, let me think of the ones I like. Soundgarden or Audio Slave. What was that boy's name that was the lead singer for that band? He died not long ago. I used to know his name. Can't remember. Those were kind of like the ones I liked. Of course, who doesn't like the boy that killed himself? Nirvana, Kurt Cobain. That's the kind of music I wandered into out of the 80s. And I really enjoyed that. All them detuned songs and, alternative tunings. It just sounds cool. I fell into that and stayed there a long time. Stone Temple Pilots, yeah, there you go. Now you're speaking my language. A bunch of that crap's still on my phone. Man, you guys have found something to talk about. What about Bass Angler says, what about Danzig? Y'all just don't know. Glenn Danzig was one of my favorite musicians or artists or singers or whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't that silly song Mother that he sung that everybody knows. It was so many others. And the fact that he sung in German is what made it cool. But there's a tattoo on my shoulder right here that's out of one of their albums. I really like Glenn Danzig. He's pretty cool. I'm surprised that anybody else even knows who he is. Their self-titled album, Danzig, was the best one. Yeah, I got a bunch of that crap going on in the background. Yeah. Let me see here. Now that we've wandered down the music path. Here lately, that'll work. There's Days of the New. That's a more recent band. Alice in Chains was one of the ones I liked a lot. Chevelle makes cool music. I can't play any of these because they're all copyright. So, you get it. Of course, there's a bunch of Metallica in here. I did like Metallica. Even though, they have some really aggressive lawyers. I still like their music. It was pretty cool. And then I've got the Hangman's Something by Volbeat. I think that's a pretty cool song. But that Chevelle song that's in this playlist, Face to the Floor, that's a pretty cool song. Scriptwick says, the Doors and CCR do it for me. I listened to them when I was a kid because Mom and Daddy had their albums and I had access to their record collection. So yeah, I listened to them. Bunch of CCR stuff. The Beatles. Mama loved the Beatles, so she had all of their music. She still does, as far as I know. That they still have all them records. But good night, Donald. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're an hour and 10 minutes now. Now that I know where the counter is down here. Nirvana Unplugged album is one of my favorites. Yeah, their self-titled album, or what was it? The one that's got the song Smells Like Teen Spirit, that was my favorite. TL says, I'm a massive Metallica fan. Dude, I have so much Metallica. I don't have the latest one, that Garage Band or whatever that one was. I kind of hit a stopping point because I had so much of it. I have it way back to like Master of Puppets and stuff, you know. And back to cameras. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we've wandered way down a rabbit hole there. I'm going to have to work on this fingernail that's bugging me to death. It's broken. It's got a big chunk chipped out of it. But as far as the whole thing about Nikon going out of business, I think that lie or that theory or that rumor has been thoroughly debunked at this point. There, finally got rid of it. And you don't have to worry about them disappearing. I'm pretty sure they're in it for the long game. And they seem to have enough support. They're selling their cameras as fast as they can make them, y'all. I mean, the D9, or the Z9, I mean, took Ray 7 months. Wasn't it, Ray, to get yours, if Ray's still in the chat? I think it took him, I think he ordered his in January and didn't get it till July. Some kind of crazy timetable like that. It took forever for him to get it. You know, that's their flagship. That's the one that should sell the slowest, you know. What? Nikon ain't broke? Yeah, exactly. You know. Yeah, Bass Angler said it right. Nikon is back. Yeah, they fell into I think, honestly, they were a little bit complacent. If you just want to know the truth, the D850 was selling really well, and they were moving a ton of them, and they were doing really well with DSLRs. And to design an entire new camera ethos was going to take time. And if I'm right, they had been working on it for a while, because Aaron's got a Nikon 1. It's a mirrorless camera. So, if you haven't been paying attention, they did that way back in like 2009 or 10 or something. Way back. So, Nikon's been dabbling in mirrorless for a long time. And he loves that little Nikon 1. He's got the whole kit. All the little tiny lenses and everything that goes with it. And he has an adapter to put F-mount lenses on it. So he can put all his glass on them. He loves that little camera. He gets it out and plays with it about every time we go on a trip. He'll bring it along. It's a great little camera. Wasn't that something about how they're king of the hill, or are they? How are they ranked now? They're not number one. I'm pretty sure Sony is number one currently, mainly because they sell so many cameras, and you know Sony played it smart. They were playing chess and not checkers, is what is the euphemism or whatever you call it is. But they were, of course, everybody's buying sensors from Sony, but that's a given. But they're also selling cameras to the phone companies. So, you know, most of the cameras that you see in smartphones are built by Sony. And they make countless millions of them things, you know. Aaron leaves in the morning, doesn't he? I don't remember. I'll have to check my itinerary. He was out doing landscape photography yesterday. He shoots the same railroad trestle every year in the fall colors. and compares the photos. He's every year I've known him, he's took that same photo, and he just took this year's picture, and it was awesome. See if I can find that for you. Yeah, I know I can. I can do it this way. Yeah, there we go. Go to that. Scroll down a little bit. There it is. There we go. I'm in, but I'm out. Yeah, he takes this picture every year and compares it to the previous year. And I don't know, this one, it looks cool. It has kind of a Victorian area photograph, but colorized look to it this year. There's so much green in it. It's just kind of unusual. But yeah, he takes this photo every year. That's pretty cool. But yeah, he done that one just the other day. Uh-oh. I gotta fix myself, put myself back in frame. But yeah, he's done that same trestle for a number of years. But yeah, he probably, it's about time. I don't know. Maybe it's next week. I don't remember. I'll have to look. But yeah, he leaves pretty soon for his trip. But I think it's, to get back to C2C Disciples question, I'm pretty sure Sony's number 1, Canon is number 2, and then Fujifilm, I think, is number 3, and Nikon is like number 4 right now. But with the popularity of the Z9 and with them finally fleshing out the Z-mount lens lineup, they can finally compete with Fujifilm. You know, they didn't have any Z lenses for the longest, and because they didn't have any lens choices, people wasn't buying the cameras. You know, they had to flesh out their lens roadmap first. Now that they've done that, you're starting to see buyers. You're starting to see mirrorless Nikons everywhere. I mean, I am terrible with names, and me saying that out loud is probably reinforcing that. But Adrian Alford down in Australia, I don't know if y'all watch his channel. If you don't, go subscribe to him. He's awesome. He's a great YouTuber as well as a great landscape and wildlife photographer. But he'll take you on his photo trips, and sometimes he does these spoof videos, and they're just hilarious. He's good. He's good at keeping you entertained. But he just got a Z7 or Z7 II. I don't remember one or the other. But it's a Z7, either 1 or 2. And he uses it for landscape, and it takes stunning photos for him. And then, of course, Thomas Heaton, I think, just got a Z7. So people are buying them. Now that there's lenses, they're buying them. So yeah, they're back in the game. It wouldn't surprise me if you see them crawl into the top 3, and then they'll be vying for number 2 with Canon, is what I'm suspecting, because Sony's going to hold that lead. They're what I call first movers in the modern mirrorless era. So since they were first in the game, and Canon and Nikon kind of discounted the whole mirrorless game, they were able to get an artificial long lead because they could see the future and see it was mirrorless. They went ahead and embraced that and ran with it. Because if you remember, they made DSLRs when they bought whoever it was they bought Minolta, I think. And they were making the Alphas, and the original Alphas were DSLRs, and they worked great. But Sony didn't want to make that complicated mechanism. They were aware that you could do a digital camera and not have to have that whole mirror box and pentaprism crap in there. So they started working on that, and they got ahead of the game. And I would say they're 6 or 7 generations ahead of Sony or of Nikon and Canon because of that. So yeah, that gives them kind of an artificial head start. So depending on how hard they push that sector of their business, because Sony's into a lot of stuff, you know, everything from making movies down to clock radios. They make everything. So they have to allocate so much money to the photography equipment division. They do that based on how strong the competition is. You know that their board of directors are weighing those things. They're like, can we give it to TVs or, you know, surveillance camera systems or whatever? And, you know, and photography equipment is most likely measured against the competition. And when they see that Canon and Nikon are starting to gain on them, they'll start throwing more money at that division. That's what I expect to see. But I expect Nikon and Canon to be battling for number 2 for a while. They have a ways to go to catch up with Sony. Sony's got some pretty high tech operating parameters in their cameras. You know, their focus works really, really well. You know, so and Nikon and Canon are getting there, but it's not as good as Sony's. Not yet. Have you tried or heard of a Fujifilm FinePix S5 Pro digital SLR camera with a Nikon lens mount? It's a fantastic vintage camera. No, I've never heard of one of them. That's interesting. Grant says, I feel like the consumers enjoyed the original Z6 and 7 more so than the original A7 from Sony. I would agree. I also think the marketing was better on the Nikon offerings as opposed to the Sony Alphas. The original Sony Alphas, you didn't see any marketing on them. I don't know where they marketed those cameras because you never saw them marketed. So I only saw a handful of them in the wild. One was the first time I was ever exposed to one was in Florida. The guy loved it, and he used it and done a bunch of commercial work with it. But that was the first one I had ever seen in person. It was unusual. That was probably 2014. He was still using the original Alpha then. But yeah. Excuse me. Wow. I'm trying to lean out of camera shot, but this wide angle lens I just get over to the side of the frame and it just draws attention. Yeah, so C2C Disciple says, yeah, Tamron had a zoom lens with a great focal range for event shooting. That was pretty fast glass, and I'd get excited, but it was for a Sony camera. So close, but yet so far. Probably didn't feel like they needed to, given there was no competition. Yeah, I'm of that philosophy group or mindset or whatever. I think that's why Nikon took so long to get into the mirrorless game. I think they had cameras in development, but they just didn't really put a lot of money into the research arm. Wow. Yeah, it's 11:15. That's why I'm yawning. It's an hour past bedtime. C2C Disciple says focusing was whack for a bit on Nikon. if with the word whack you mean wasn't very good, then I would agree. My Z6, it took okay focus. It worked all right. And I had several firmware updates that got it that good, but it wasn't great. My D810 worked better. It really did, as far as focus tracking and focusing and focus speed and everything. It just worked better. But with the Gen 2s, when they added that second processor in the camera, it kind of unlocked the cameras for them. That gave them the horsepower they needed to actually drive the focus like they wanted to. To have on-sensor focusing at that point was incredible. And then this Z9, like Ray said earlier, it's cheating. It's that good. Claire, you showed up. How are you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Now that we're an hour and 24 minutes in, and I was going to run it for an hour. Oh, by the way, Whoever's been here in the last 15 minutes, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's right down there in that corner. I've been doing that supposedly every 15 minutes. I think I forgot a couple of times. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about this evening was, let me see here, let me get back over to it, pull it back up, was the Nikon Z9 firmware update and what it means to me. Just to recap this right quick, the firmware itself for most people doesn't really bring anything to your gear currently, but what this will do is generate trickle down, and you'll see a bunch of this functionality making its way into the smaller cameras and the consumer cameras and the prosumer machines and all of that, and it'll just make it's the whole a rising tide lifts all boats philosophy, and I believe it'll work great. Thank you for coming into the chat, C2C. We'll see you soon. Really appreciate your time. You have a good evening. But yeah, and so anytime you see a firmware update, especially this vast, be happy. Don't think you were sold a broken camera. This is just showing you that they're supporting the product and they're giving you new features as they figure out how to develop them. They're not selling them to you. Because it wasn't too long in the past you had to buy this. I remember wanting when they would sell you a 4K video codec for a Z6 or Z7 one. If you wanted that to add that functionality, you had to buy it. And now they're giving them to you. I don't know if that's from peer pressure in the market or if it's because they have figured out that supporting their existing customers builds a better company image and makes people have confidence that if they buy the product, they'll get good support. You know, like I said, it's rising tide lifts all boats. It just, everything about it helps. And then you immediately see that they're still supporting the D850 and the new Z5. Well, it's not new, but it's not old either. You know, they're still writing firmware updates for DSLRs. The D850, which I think is still for sale. I don't know they discontinued it yet. This looks like an ad for one. That's probably an Adorama or a B&H ad. I don't know which, but well, let's just click it and see where it goes. Open link in a new tab. It takes us to Nikon Rumors. This is where all the discounts are on Nikon Rumors, yeah. Wow, Z5 is only $1,300. Oh, with you have to apply a $400 discount. Oh, and that's with the 24 to 50 lens. Huh. I'm just kind of marveling here for a minute. The Z7 II with the 24 to 70 f4 for just a strip body is $2,800. That's not bad. Wow, less than $3K. When I bought my D810, I paid about that for it. $2,800, I think, is what I gave for that D810 when I bought it new. Oh wow, all the lenses are on sale. Dude, if you're looking for Nikon glass, right now's the time. That's awesome. But yeah, this and this are really awesome. That's a sign of a strong company, and that they're there for the long haul. So if you're looking for Nikon gear, if you're looking to buy a new camera or a camera, or wanting to get into an interchangeable lens system, Nikon won't be a bad choice. It would be a great choice. It really would. There was a time when I would have honestly possibly steered you away from Nikon because it didn't look hot for them there for a couple of years. Things just didn't look great. Like C2C said, that focus was whack for a bit. But now it's not the same game. It just ain't. It's incredible what they can do now. So with that, I appreciate you guys sticking around for an hour and a half. Literally, 1 hour and 30 minutes just clicked. We've done a 90-minute live stream. And I am so thankful that you guys have stuck it out with me this long. George, don't forget to send me that email. I'm going to remind you if you're still in here. And everybody else, I really appreciate you. And Bass Angler, thanks for being a moderator in the chat. I really appreciate your help. So until next time, I don't have one nearby. Well, I do. I just don't want to have to trip over stuff to get to it. Get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.